Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the animation industry. We're going to talk about another animation industry vet doing a video talking about leaving the industry, or at least leaving Pixar, and it's making the rounds now. And we're going to have to give a hat tip to our friend Sarah, who sent this over. We watched it this morning, and we got some thoughts. We have some thoughts about it.
We do.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
We are actually going to pimp somebody else's project in this video. Our friend Jason has Lords of the Cosmos up on Indiegogo, so check that out. We can't let him be stuck at $666.
Oh, but he said that was on brand for him, though.
but check it out. He's on Indiegogo. They already did this on Kickstarter. He did pretty well on Kickstarter. I don't know if people know if he's over there, so we're going to let you know he's over there, so check him out. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, if this is like the first time you've watched us, we do talk a lot about the animation industry. We do tend to make animation industry, or some animation industry people, younger animation industry people, very angry because we are very blunt.
We just tell them what we say the quiet part out loud, and they get mad about it.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. Like they have it in their head that for some reason we want them all to fail and we hate them, and that's not what we do at all. What we're trying to tell you is, hey, here's the reality. And when you don't want to hear reality, it's negativity and all this other, whatever istophobia you want to associate with it. But it's just us trying to tell you, hey, sky's falling. Hey, waterfall. Yeah. Hey, whatever, warning. And then you're just like, I don't want to hear it. So you're just bad. And maybe we're too blunt. I don't know. But I think we're very
blunt. Well, I'm going to tell you, because watching this video, I mean, he seems like a really nice guy. He did work at Pixar for a while. He's worked at a bunch of other places. He has a consulting business now. There is I don't want to say toxic positivity, because I don't want to accuse anybody specifically of having toxic positivity, but there is definitely a handling of younger people with kid gloves.
Yeah, because they're going to lose their crap. And the thing is, I mean, I am glad though to hear industry people coming out and saying, well, we've been telling them. They do it in a nicer way than we tell you, but they're out there saying the same things, if you read between the lines, that we're telling you too. And it's like, yeah, see, thank you, because they're starting to speak out because they want people to know this as well. And now they do it nicer than we would do it.
Yeah.
But they're still out there doing it. And so I think that they're starting to realize, hey, we got to start letting people know what temper your expectations, but they do it in a nice way. So I don't think they're necessarily false positivity so much as they're just trying to find a way to get across to people who would take everything you say as negativity.
The problem is, the problem is, and we'll talk about this. The problem is when people are told for years, chase your dreams, go after your dreams. Everything's a dream. You can do it. You dream it. You can do it, without any reality to temper those expectations. And it's fed to them by their teachers. It's fed to them by the schools they go to. And then they get out
because they have to make money.
You're
not going to pay to go to school if you aren't selling the dream.
If you said to somebody like, look, yeah, you can pay a couple $100,000 a year to go to SCAD, and your chances of actually getting a job are statistically improbable, and you'll probably wind up bagging groceries. Nobody's going to go to SCAD and pay a couple $100,000, right?
And go into massive debt, yeah.
And go into massive debt for that. And they get angry. They get angry when people point that out. But I'm like, there's more. And I could go on a whole tangent about this. There is an it factor that people who make it creatively have, and it's not just skill. Okay, no. It's not just skill. There is another subset of skills that are required, and one of those skills is having a thick skin. One of those skills is being able to market yourself.
One of them is tenacity.
Blunt. Tenacity. I point people. It's funny. I mentioned 90s MTV cartoons the other day on Twitter, and somebody mentioned Fred Seibert, who I kind of quasi know Fred, but he is very blunt. And this guy worked in the industry for years, and a lot of these old heads that worked decades and decades and decades in the industry, they're not as pleasant. They're going to tell you exactly what your chances are, and you're not going to want to hear it. They might tell you like, yeah, it's like shoving a camel through the eye of a needle. Your chances of getting a show picked up. And I'm glad that there are more people coming out and saying this now. That
they're doing it in a nicer way, but that if you read between the lines, it's what they're saying. And it's like, I always respect people that are more blunt, and they're because back in the day, and they're older people usually. You know, you want to be blunt people because otherwise they're gonna waste their time chasing
Yeah.
something. Because it's like you could tell them, hey, you have a 95% chance of not getting it, and then they're gonna be like, oh, but you're telling me there's still a chance. And part of me is like, those are the people that make it, because the 5% that do make it because, you know, partly because they have positive attitude. You're telling me there's a chance, but they'll find a damn way to make it work. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to save the other 95% of people from wasting 10 years of their life, wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars, being miserable, being depressed, getting yourself into massive debt, chasing something that's never going to happen.
Yeah, and we're trying, like, I don't know. I don't have what it takes to be a mentor, and this is one thing he actually does have. This guy we're going to talk about, his name was Jeremy Vickery. He worked for Pixar for a number of years and a bunch of other places. He worked on The Incredibles, Cars, Wall-E, Brave, VeggieTales, you know. So, but he does have a mentorship program. If you got the lightningmentor.com, if you want to be a mentor, you can apply for that. I am a piss poor mentor because I am going to tell you what you don't want to hear, and I'm going to be very blunt about it, and I'm probably going to swear in the process. And anybody who knows me, it doesn't mean my heart's not in the right place, but if I see somebody going the wrong direction, I'm like, what are you fucking doing? Like, what are you fucking doing? And that is why I think that's a big reason why so many people in the animation industry are wannabes. It's not people that have worked in the industry for years. Wannabes and stans don't like us because we are blunt. And if you think I'm bad on Clownfish TV, if you actually got me in person and you asked me questions about what I think, I'm probably going to be even worse than I am on YouTube.
I don't know. You'll try to be somewhat nice.
I'll try to be somewhat nice, but I mean, I'm not going to tell you a bunch of bullshit fairy tales just to, you know, like, oh yeah, if you just dream it, you can do it. It's like, no, you can do whatever you want to. Like I tell our kids, I said, you can do anything you want to do. You have to have an end goal in mind, and then you have to reverse engineer it. You have to be methodical. You have to actually you have to be a bit more of a pragmatic thinker, even if you're an artist, to get the most out of your art career. And the people
if you're just going to try to I'm just going to do what everybody else did, it's not going to work anymore. I'm just going to tell you straight up.
Exactly, because it's already been done.
But can we get to the point, which was
we're gonna get to the point. I'm trying to build up to this, and so let's take a look at his video, and we got some comments here. And again, don't contact him, don't harass him. The purpose of the video is not to harass him or make fun of him or whatever. Just he is telling you kind of the reality of the situation, but he's being much nicer than we would be.
Yeah, well, he talks about how he went to school. He wanted to work for Pixar because he saw like the computer animated like Toy Story and all that. And I'm going to summarize the beginning. And he went and got his degree. He was valedictorian in his class, and he went right out and tried for Pixar, didn't get it. And I thought this was really real of him. Because he's like, you know, it took me 6 years, 6 tries to get in. That's very real and that's very fair. And he does say, you know, it was easier then than it is now.
Yes.
So, yeah, he's being very nice about how he's telling you, but he is being honest and he's telling you the situation. It is easier then than now, and it still took me six attempts, being the top of my class, to get in, because everybody wants to work there. And, you know, kudos to you for not giving up and getting in anyway. So I'll give him credit because he didn't give it up. Worked other jobs, did what he had to do until he could get to where he wanted to be. But when he got there, he doesn't say it as much. I'll let you play some of the video here. He doesn't say it as much, but the vibe I get is when you're a entry-level individual in animation, the amount of work and crunches is not good. It's not good for your mental health, and it's not probably, you know, conducive to living in an expensive area.
Yeah. There are a lot of things that go with this. Not just, I'm going to draw whatever I want all day and get paid money for it. No, it's a lot harder than that. Now I'm gonna speed this up a little bit to get through it quicker. But let's take a look at what he has to say here.
Because it's like, I want to work there on their films with them. That's what I want. And I worked really hard towards that goal. And once I got there, that goal had been achieved. And I thought, if I could just work at Pixar, then I will be happy. That is my goal in life. And once I got there, what happened was I started to see more facets of life. I started to realize that life wasn't so...
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and I talked about this the other day because, you know, Scott Adams, you know, Dilbert, he has lost the use of his hands, and I did mention publicly, and I've mentioned it here a couple of times, I guess. Some people know. I had a back injury I am looking at the possibility of that happening to me at some point. You have to have more going on in your life than just being able to,
Well, I think people
draw
make
or
it-
play music or whatever.
I think you make it your dream and then you lock in, that's all you care about. And then once you
Yeah.
achieve your dream, you have to be able to be flexible enough to be like, okay, and then,
And
and
now what?
then, and he's like, and I think also when you're young, you focus on that and then you get what you want. And then you're like, okay, now who am I? And I think that's what was going on. But I think he talks about, changes he made after working there several years. And I'll let you play some of the video and I'll tell you what I think, reading between the lines. I don't know if I'm right, but in my opinion, I'll tell you what I think here in a second.
Black and white. I think it's quite common for most humans to have a view of the world that is very polar. This is right, this is wrong, this is black, this is white, this is my goal, that's it, that is all that life is. And as you mature and you go through it, you start to see more sides. You start to really understand the space a little bit better. So as I got in at Pixar, I started to understand that my life was more than where I worked. That the prestige of working on these movies was only one part of who I am. That my identity should not be Pixar artist. My identity should be I'm Jeremy. And that includes my family and my hobbies and my health and what I do, how I...
Yes, but I'm also like, I just think that he realized when he got in there, it wasn't what he thought it was. So,
Yeah, and that's
what I
a
think.
lot of people. I mean, that's like people used to come after us all the time. And it's like, well, you used to be a Disney influencer. They must have fired you. It's like, no, we actually walked away. We actually walked away from all of it. That would include being a Disney influencer. That would include pitching stuff to Disney. That would include working on Disney comics, which we did for a number of years, because frankly didn't want to work.
I was gonna pay shit for one.
It pays shit. It's a lot of stress, and the company isn't what it used to be. I mean, that's the long and short of it. So, I think he's being a lot nicer about it, but I'd just be like, yeah.
I travel, all of my different facets of my personality is who I am. And my job at Pixar was just one little portion of that. So I stayed there for several years. And one of the facets was family. And I had a son, and he was 5 at the time. And we realized maybe he should get to know his grandparents and his cousins and his aunts and his uncles. And they all live 3,000 miles away on the other side of the country. So I quit to put family more of a priority, and we moved back closer.
Pause. No, I'm sorry. I mean, that might be the case, but I don't think that's why he quit. I think that they moved over there because it was probably cheaper, and they moved over there for probably family reasons. But I think it wasn't what he thought it was. He was, having an identity crisis, and then he's like, well, you know what? No one moves 3,000 miles away when they have a job working at Pixar just to go back to be near family, and that's it.
Not unless they're making like a life-changing.
Right. So I'm like,
I'm done.
Yeah, there has to be way more than that. I'm sorry, there might not be. But in my opinion, no one does that. No one does that.
Not knowing this guy, we don't know what his circumstances are.
No,
but in your opinion,
but I'm like usually you do that because it wasn't what you thought, or financial reasons, or it's way cheaper over there, or something. I mean, or you need a sitter, or you need.
Well, that could be too. People don't realize how expensive it is. If you got kids to hire somebody to watch them.
I mean, I could be wrong, but it just seems like a really odd choice to make.
To family. And it was good. And I learned the facets of that part of life. And I experienced new things, and I became a freelance illustrator. And that was great. I learned so much doing that.
Okay, again, but that was going from Pixar to being a freelance illustrator. And that's the movie, but something doesn't add up here.
Yeah, well, okay, so this is actually pretty common in any creative, whether it's comics or animation or whatever. You're not employed 24/7. You're not employed, years and years on end, unless you're like an executive. A lot of times people are just hired for one film, and then they might not get picked up for the next.
Well, he was there for years, and then he decided to leave. So I'm like, I don't know. My little buzzer's going off in the back of my mind. But okay, we'll just take it. He went to be with family. Okay, got out of the rat race.
In your opinion,
in my opinion, there's a little buzzer's going off. But okay,
there's some gaps here. But whatever.
Wasn't the complete picture either. And after doing that for several years, I'm like, I really miss making movies. I want to really be involved, and I want to grow. I want to learn more about storytelling. This is really exciting for me.
So wait. So you left Pixar to move across the country and live near your family, and then if you were only there for a few years and you decided you wanted to make movies, you were a freelance illustrator, and now all of a sudden you want to grow more, make more movies. And then you move back.
Yeah.
The bell's still going off, but okay.
Okay. One thing you have to consider if you're a creative is, if you're a creative who chooses to have a family, you've also got to take the family into consideration. So, I'm just saying. And I think a lot of people, this is why you always hear the story of like the creatives being younger it's easier to, I guess, chase your dreams when you're 22 and you don't have a family and you don't have, the responsibilities, mortgage, all that stuff. Of course, now, people aren't buying houses till they're like 59, but that's a whole nother issue.
I was learning so much with the team. But as time went on, I started to realize that there was a lot more subtlety. So being at a company of 1,200 people and you're working on these big projects, I was one little tiny cog in a much bigger machine. And I wanted...
Welcome to Disney. Welcome to Disney.
I mean, you're not going to... Basically, translation, I wanted to be the one people who made the stories. I wanted to be one of the supervisors. I wanted to be able to hire people that got to, have a say.
Yeah, which he says as much. He says
right.
As much,
Which, I mean, understandable.
Yeah.
But, it's like the reality, this is what he's telling you in a nice way. The reality is you're one of 1,200 people. And in a department might be one of 100 or whatever. And you are likely not going to get that chance anytime soon. It could take years to get to you if you even get that far. And because when you're in a big company and there's a lot of moving parts and you're one little worker bee in the hive, you're going to have to knock off a lot of people to be that queen bee.
And I want to talk about that because that's something we talked about in the car on the way over. Okay. And this is where I think the toxic positivity, and again, I'm not saying he's being, toxic or whatever, but the attitude I see in the creative spaces is that we're all in this together. Kumbaya. It's like, no. Let me be very clear. If you are going to pursue a creative career, it is fucking cutthroat. It is cutthroat. There are not enough jobs for the number of people who want to do it. And no matter how good you think you are, there are 1,000 people who are better than you are. Okay.
Yeah, you know what? I'm telling you right now, the Disney comics, Disney people were way worse than anybody else we dealt with.
Some of that you would not think of it. Some of the biggest betrayals I have had in my professional life have come from friendly Disney folks who, they smile to your face and then they knife you in the back. But I'm just saying, and this is where I'm trying to get if you want to do this, and I get this all, you can dream it. You need to get tougher. I'm not saying you can't chase your dream, chase that dream. You want to do it, do it. But you're going to have...
You can't do it, but you got to do it differently.
You're going to have to be smart. You're going to have to be tough. You're going to have to know when people are jerking you around, and you're going to have to know when to keep your fucking mouth shut and just go do your thing and not get sucked into these cliques or whatever, because those people, as much as you think it's all big, happy community, a lot of those people will drag your ass down to the bottom of the ocean if it means that it takes you out of play and they get ahead. And I'm not even kidding. I have learned this lesson the hard way. Every little kumbaya group, every time somebody says, let's come be part of our community, the art community, the whatever community. I'm like, oh, that is code for it's a clique. There's going to be a leader, and it's probably not going to be you.
Well, and as soon as you start doing better than people that got hired at the same time as you, or people think that you're your peers, they will always be enamored of somebody, even if you're bigger than them, but they will always treat you like you're beneath them.
Yes.
Or if they talk to you at all, because as soon as you start doing better and you're doing better than they are, then suddenly they don't speak to you anymore.
We have run into this in literally everything we've ever done. We have run into the crabs in the bucket mentality. And yeah, as soon as you start, it can go one of two ways. Either they all want to be your friend because your quote unquote friend, because they think they can get something out of you, right? You're useful. You've got a platform where you've got, something that you can do for them. You can get them a job or something, or they're insanely jealous of you and they're going to try to take you out. Your best bet is, I'm going to be honest, your best bet, your best chance at having real friends is having friends outside of the creative industry that are doing hey, I got a friend that works at Subway down the street and he doesn't give a shit about making comic books or cartoons or whatever. I've just known him since school and he's happy working at Subway and we play video games on the weekend. That's the way to go, because that guy's not going to try to tank your career to get ahead. I'm just saying, and I know it sounds very jaded and it sounds very bitter. I have a handful.
You didn't used to be this way.
No, I didn't used to be this way. I used to be very trusting. Oh yeah, it's a community and we're all going to help each other. And then I got fucked so many times, bent over backwards so many times by quote unquote friends that at this point I'm just like, you know what? I know the game. Professionals know the game. and they're going to have, like, you're going to have people that you're going to meet. They're going to have, you're going to get the sense off of them that they're professionals or fellow professionals. And if you can make money together, then you guys are golden, right? It's going to be fine because everybody understands the deal. This is not a friendship. This is not a family. This is, we're working together for the common goal, which is we want to get our stuff out there and we want to make money. As soon as people try blurring those lines, it can get really, really messy. I'm just, and I'm not trying to go off on a rant about that, but like, I have learned this the hard way. We've had people that, yeah, we thought they were like our bestest buddies, and then as soon as they didn't get what they wanted, we're dog shit, you know? And so just be very, very careful. And I don't want people to have a really shit attitude and be like, well, I can't talk to anybody now. I can't. I'm just saying, just be aware. It is absolutely positively.
Well, not everybody's like that.
No, not everybody's like that.
The ones that seem to get ahead the most are.
The ones that get ahead the most are. And it's just like, if you watch any of these shows, whether it's Survivor was at the floor, that's one you guys are watching, they'll form alliances. And then sometimes they'll toss somebody under the wheels of the bus the first chance they get. And it's like, they're like, well, I thought you were my friend. I'm like, that's how it works in the creative industry too. And I'm sorry.
That's why I say it's all fair in love and war. There's a reason.
Yeah. And it's, again, right now, I'm gonna wager things are probably the worst they've ever been, because as soon as the resources dry up, like if all your SCAD friends are all getting jobs at Disney and at these animation studios, and everybody's good and everybody's happy and they're content, that's fine. If only one person out of like 5,000 people get a job, they're all going to stab each other.
Well, that's just it. If there's plenty, there's not a problem. But if it's scarce, then there's going to be
scarcity, just like animals. I mean, we are. Yeah. We're animals.
So there's one job, and there's like I think he says at one point there's like they were getting like 3,000. Pixar was getting 3,000 demo reels a day, and they're only picking a few people here and there. You better believe they're going to do whatever they can. And that one lady that was talking about art school, she was talking about people backstabbing in that video too. You remember? And they tried to stay out of the drama, but is inevitable.
Yeah, just pretend you speak a different language and just keep your head down and do your stuff.
Back to this, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. When you're part of a big animation company, the chances of you moving up, if you're not hired at that position coming in, the chances of you working your way to that position, you can do it, but it's going to take probably a hell of a lot longer. And sometimes they want more experience outside their company to come in and do it. You are literally going to be a cog in a bigger machine. And he's not wrong. He's telling you the truth. He's doing it a much nicer way than I would. He's being very honest with you if you read between the lines. I think if you could get this guy off air, because he's trying to sell you his. Well, I mean, and I think program. If he can, if he's going to tell you the truth and he'll continue to tell you the truth, then it might be worth going to him to get advice, because as long as he's telling you the truth and not trying and just be careful not to sugarcoat it too much. Yep. It might benefit you. But anyway, continue. Yeah, I'll scare your ass off. Nobody wants me to be the mentor. No, I'll be like, everything sucks. It's all awful. No, actually, it's not. I just want you to be prepared. I wanted to be involved in the storytelling, but the path to get to the storytelling there was really slow. This was one of the curses of Pixar, is that they're so famous that everyone wants to work there. Right. I remember in like 2011, 12, 13, that they were receiving over 3,000 demo reels a day. And that's a lot. So most people, when they get hired, they're overqualified for these entry-level roles. Like, I have a friend who had worked on huge movies. He worked on Harry Potter, he worked on Avatar, he was a lighting supervisor, and he got to Pixar expecting that he could grow into a supervisor role, and the answer was, no, you're just gonna have to wait. He got in as an entry-level person, just like I did, back in 2003. Meanwhile, all these people, this 3,000 demo, now that doesn't mean you have 3,000 good reels. Right, it just means you're getting 3,000 reels, right? But I'm like, statistically speaking, they could have picked any one of those people and probably put out a better movie than Elio. Would perform better at the box office. Putting out lately, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've really been striking out. I don't think they're getting 3,000 reels a day now. I think DreamWorks might be, Illumination might be, but I don't think Pixar is getting that many these days. I could be wrong. Everyone starts at an entry-level position, and it takes years and years and years and years before you can grow even to a slightly more creative role. Kind of a lot of button pushers there that are overqualified. Yeah, a lot of people are overqualified for the position, but they said everyone has to start as entry level if you come in. And it's like, because they get all these people that are highly qualified that want the honor and prestige of working at Pixar, but they can pay them ghetto wages, entry level wages, even though they deserve far, far more. Yeah, and so you're getting your pick of the the best of the best, right? And that's how Disney does it. Disney, especially, they know that you want Disney on your resume. People are so just
enamored with the brand, or at least they were. I mean, people knew that we did stuff with them, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're the people who worked with Disney." I'm like, "Bitch, do you know what they paid? Like, they didn't pay us very much, and it was a lot of hassle." I mean, I in retrospect, I think it's kind of cool to be able to say we worked there, but I'm like, literally everything else
we
done,
did
paid more
in and around. It wasn't directly.
Yeah.
We did option stuff to them directly.
We optioned stuff. We worked on their licensed comics for years. We did, what I'm saying? But people are just like, "Oh my God, you worked with Disney. That's amazing." I'm like, why are you so who else worked for Disney? If people working at the resorts that are cleaning up your kids' shit, they work for Disney.
Right.
Are you that impressed?
People are getting treated like shit by
the people that are getting treated like shit working at the hotels. You think they're so like, oh my God. I remember when we were at Disneyland, there was a whole bunch of really tired Disney maids all walking down the street in Anaheim. They were dead tired. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think, they go out there and people are like, "Oh my God, you work for Disney." They're probably like, "I am so tired. I'm just really, really tired."
I mean, the utilidors underneath Magic Kingdom, they don't play Disney music because they're so, the cast members, they're so tired of the music. But anyway, go back.
Let's go back to this.
Qualified. And that was something that didn't rub well with me. That was something that I'm like, I want more. I want to be involved in the actual storytelling. And I had already worked at a couple of other smaller studios and as a freelancer, and I realized smaller teams mean more creativity. So I started to learn about myself that I like smaller teams. Pixar was great.
Wait. So smaller teams make more creativity. So like when we were telling you that if you want to go be an animator in the current climate, which is a lot of the jobs are going overseas because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Or other places because cheaper. And maybe you and your friends should start your own studio in a place that's less expensive because you don't have to be in LA necessarily.
No.
And you go start your own thing, and then you could be more involved in every aspect of it, and it doesn't cost as much, so you're more competitive in the marketplace for when you bid on things. I'm like, but we got told we were wrong, and that was terrible. But that's probably what you should be doing.
Yeah, I think that's the way things are going to go. And I think what happens is you get to a place, because Pixar, remember, when they first started, they were small and nimble, and they were able to execute a more singular vision more efficiently. And when you become this big, unwieldy thing, then you have 1,200 people, and it's like a push me, pull you, or whatever from Dr. Dolittle, where they don't, who's in charge and what do they. What are they trying to accomplish? When Lasseter was there, it was very clear. You answered to him. He was the one who oversaw everything. And that's when he got gone, you can see the decline in quality because I don't think they have leadership there like they used to.
No.
That is my opinion. But it seems like a rudderless ship at this point.
Super prestigious, really great on the resume. But I actually like smaller teams. I don't want to have a lighting team of 50 people. I like having a lighting team of 3 people. I like being involved in the concept design and the planning and the lighting and the story and just kind of working on everything. So the second time that I left was when I left for good. And I realized that was a chapter in my life that was amazing, but it was time for me to move on. And I'm so glad I did, because now I've been able to be involved in games and to be involved in television and live action cinematography.
That's the thing. A lot of these things, I was going to say, the good thing about being in a place like this is you can learn a lot. And you can absorb a lot, and you could take that to leverage it yourself later, which is the one, upside of getting in one of these, being a cog. So you can go do your own thing. But basically he took what he learned there and he's going out and just doing freelance basically and getting himself into different gigs in different places.
Yeah. Now it used to be like with comics, it used to be that if you started in comic books, you didn't stay in comic books. If you started in comics, you usually worked your way through, at least in the last, couple decades, you'd work your way up to becoming an editor. So you would kind of shepherd other people's work, or you would go out of the industry completely. You'd go work in movies. You'd go work in games. You'd do something else.
Go make toys.
Go make toys. Yes. Todd McFarlane, right.
That was smart.
You would go do something else with the skills that you learned, because it's very hard to do that forever without wanting to kill yourself. Right. Cause it's a grind, and it's not incorrect to say that these kinds of industries chew up young people. Like, you're fresh out of college, you don't have any obligations. You can just give yourself to the studio. They will burn you out by the time you're 25, 30 years old.
Yeah, that's what you said about comics. Like, they would burn you out in a few years, and then but you know what? If you're just a cog in the wheel, you're just replaceable.
Yep.
There's somebody else that has all kinds of cred that will come in at entry level and be happy to be there until they realize they can't go anywhere either.
Yeah, and it's like at that point it's either up or out, right? You either take the skills that you've learned and you go do your own thing, or you move up into something else, or you burn out and that's it. And you peaked at 28 years old. It's like, and then you're like Al Bundy working at the shoe store. I used to work for Pixar, It's like, and then my hands don't work no more. There's a snake in my boots. So, I mean, these industries will chew you up and spit you out. And it's when you're getting in your 40s, 50s, 60s is like, unless you're like an editor or director or something, it's like you cannot realistically keep up the pace.
And I've been able to travel the world and work with a lot more people. I became a director of photography on a Netflix film. I've gotten to do so many privileged things because I left Pixar. And I left one dream to pursue another. As somebody, I mean, I give a lot of advice. This is what I do for a living now. I run my own company, lightingmentor.com. You can go to www.lightingmentor.com if you want to learn more about what I do, but I teach.
A crummy commercial.
Sorry.
No, actually, I mean, this is the thing. And look, I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to be real. And again, this isn't attacking this guy. More often than not, and this happened with the other animation dude that we're watching too, I think they try to handle the audience with kid gloves because they do have.
They know they're going to turn on them and treat them like they treat us. And he just wants to sell you stuff. So
he wants to sell you his part, which is fine. I'm sure if the guy, he's got a lot of experience. I'm sure it's if you want to do
I was
this,
like, honestly, if you can get somebody to mentor you, that has the experience, by all means, do that. I would, but I'm just like, your mentor would be like, don't do that. Stop. We try to mentor you. We try to tell you, hey, bad idea. Maybe you should go do this, this, and that. And y'all look at us and say, you're just a hater. And it's like, and then you just go listen to somebody else who tells you the same thing, but they tell you in a nicer way.
Oh God, I'd be like Willy Wonka, like book Willy Wonka. Like I'd be like tough shit, kid. Oh, you're a blueberry? Tough shit. It's your own damn fault. I told you. All right. Anyway.
Teach lighting, color, and visual storytelling, and illustration, concept design, cinematography, composition, a whole bunch of different things that I've learned over my 28 years working in this industry. And finally, I get to live where I want to live. I don't have to live in expensive San Francisco. I now live in a small mountain town, and it's awesome.
Yes.
It's so beautiful here. This is what I want.
Right there. Yes, I don't have to live in San Francisco, which is ridiculously expensive. When you do your own thing and you're in a smaller studio and you run your own stuff, you can live where you want to live. The reality here, guys, is this. The reality is this. If you want to do it, you might still be able to do it. But going the traditional route is not going to work. The gates are closed. Whoever's gotten in are still in, and they might get more gigs. New people coming in are likely going to be, treated worse if they can even get in at all. People that have done years of experience, they're out switching to other jobs and starting a mentoring, whatever, or things like that, because there's not enough. It was like the time you went to DC. And they showed you the stack of professional work, and they said, they're not getting work. What makes you think you're going to get work? And these are like big names.
Which I appreciate. Yeah, I told the story before, but I'll tell it again. So I had an interview at DC Comics when I was 19, 20 years old, but this would have been late-ish 90s, and at that point the bubble had already burst in the mainstream comic book industry, but they had me up anyway, and I was there for about 2 hours, and I mean the conversation went well, but the editor there was like, hey, so Art Adams is huge. I mean, he's a phenomenal artist. He's like, yeah, he can't get work. He's like, how am I supposed to give you work? Because, even 10 years before, he's like, if this were like 5 or 10 years ago, he said, we would have brought you in and basically mentored you and got you up to speed. And you could have worked, in the office or whatever. And then we would have given you a gig, when we thought you're ready. But he's like, we can't do that anymore. He said, basically, you have to hit the ground running. My
mentorship, advice to you is this. If, there's a few of you, there's a small percent that still do it. Right. But if you're going to plan on doing it, you don't want to work for it. You don't want to do it the hard way. And you want to just get your degree and go to animation school and get the stamp of whatever on your degree and go and get this automatic job in a warm seat that somebody else got burnt out and left. Then you're SOL. I'm sorry to tell you this. You're SOL. The ones who are going to get in there and make a difference are either going to start their own things. They're going to, team up, plan up, and go do something else. They're going to find a different way about it, a different way around, make connections and go in a different way. When one door closes and when the doors are closed and the windows are closed, you get an effing chainsaw and you make your own damn door. And that's what you're probably going to have to do. That's me mentoring you, telling you the truth, which is the door and the window are probably sealed shut, but that doesn't mean you can't just saw a hole in the house and walk your own way in the back way.
I am going to be even more blunt than that, and I'm going to tell you it's kind of like fame, the beginning of fame. I'm going to make you sweat. I'm going to tell you 99.9% of you do not have what it takes.
I wouldn't say it's that high. I'm gonna say like 92 to 95%.
Okay, well, we're in the 90s. We're
I
in
think
agreement there.
if you have the chutzpah and the gumption and the and you're not just thinking you're going to go get it, and you're willing, you understand your skin's thick and you understand you're going to fail more and you succeed and you're fine with that, and you have the mental and emotional capacity to deal with that.
You can see this. This is one thing that I do appreciate, and this is, it's probably the East Coast. Yeah, I bounce back and forth between both coasts, but the East Coast definitely is a lot more blunt, and you can tell people from the East Coast. But I appreciate the directness of New Yorkers, especially, and they look for, again, that it factor. And talking to a lot of these people online and a lot of the people that come after us, that attack us, I'm like, if you're getting this bent ass shape about the shit that we're telling you, you literally do not have what it takes to survive in this business. And I'm sorry, but I'm not that sorry, because it's Darwinism, right? And again, you can have 3,000 reels that go into Pixar's office every day or whatever. You might only have 10 of those 3,000 that are worth anything. And out of those 10 people, which ones are going to listen? And that's kind of what, like literary agents and stuff look for, and producers on different shows look for. If you're a whiner, you're not going to get anywhere.
And you just have to look for a different way. I mean, the direct way might not be the way you're going to get in. Like if we taken the direct way, we'd never been able to pitch things to Disney. You because there's a line and a half. You have to find another way. And I'm not saying you can't do it, but you're going to have to put your big boy or big girl or big they them pants on, and you're going to have to, put on a Depends too while you're at it, because you're going to probably not have time to go to the bathroom, and you're going to have to spend your time building a new way and looking for a different way of doing it, and not being like everybody else. They're all marching off a cliff, and you can either follow them off the cliff to depression and bankruptcy, or you can look around you and try something different, which is why when we said maybe you should get with your friends and start smaller groups because you're more competitive, and start your own studios, your own different things, especially if you have years of experience in the industry, and then make your own stuff first and then see if you can get that picked up. We weren't telling you that just because we didn't know what the fuck we were talking about. I'm sorry, I'm swearing, but you're going to get swearing. We're telling you this because we've done it, and because we're like telling you, you want the mentor. We're giving you stuff for free. It's just, you don't want to hear it. We're telling you the same thing they're going to tell you. It's just that we're telling you a lot more blunt than they're going to tell it to you.
I guess my thing is, like, if you rage quit this episode of Clownfish TV because you think we're being too mean or whatever, you don't have what it takes, because we're mild. When you get into the major leagues and you start dealing with executives and you start dealing with decision makers and you start dealing with money people, you will be like, oh my God, Clownfish TV
they care
told
less
me,
about
and
your feelings than we do.
They don't fucking care. They don't fucking care.
We care. That's why we're telling you. They don't care at all. I guess according to Sarah, there's a lot of the comments on this that are like agreeing. They're like, oh yeah, you're like, finally you're like, you're speaking out. And this is what people need to do. We've been speaking out for a while. I'm glad that the other people in the industry doing it, that they're doing it nicer than we would do it. And we have done it. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is good advice. This is solid advice. Again, I think the reason that we get
somebody else, he realized he didn't want to be a cog in the machine. Yes, that's exactly what I took away from it too.
Yeah. He was a teacher at ACA, now SCAD. I remember the day you landed the job at Pixar. Glad I found your channel. That's cool. I mean, I'm glad he's doing it, and maybe everybody's not as blunt as we are, but I'm just telling you, once you get into that system, you're going to find out that people aren't your friends. They're not nice. They're going to have expectations of you. And if you cannot handle what a couple of YouTubers are telling you, right, you don't have what it takes. I mean, that's the truth.
I'm looking here, something like this video is actually awesome. As someone who wants to be a filmmaker, this gave me new perspective. I got to see what it actually looks like. Heavily relate to this coming from VFX. Oh my gosh, you poor VFX workers. You are like, you guys are way more mistreated. Ironically, you have lived the dream of mine, the dream of getting work in a variety of mediums in a small teams and creative control. I am starting to pursue it next year. Wish me luck. Well, I wish you luck, because VFX workers, they get treated so terribly. When we don't, people are like mad at us about unions, but I was like, when they said they were going to unionize VFX, I was like, yeah, you need to, because those people are so abused.
I am okay with unions if, again, the working conditions are deplorable and the people are obviously being used and abused. I'm not okay with unions when it's just like, oh, I want to make all the decisions for the company, and this is what the company can and can't publish, and this is what I'm not okay with that. But if it's like you're actually being used and abused and that's the only solution, then yeah. you
Here,
know.
I might actually cry thanks to you for your sharing your story. I need to hear this. I'm 20. I'm at a crossroads of deciding what to do. I have the same problem you used to have, where my identity is where I work and what I create. I think that's a young person issue, actually. Not actually who I am. I'm struggling. I am multifaceted, creative, and it's hard to figure out where my energy. Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I get that. Thank you for sharing your story. Gave me my confidence back. Look, guys, no one said you can't do it. They're talking about this person worked for games. EA, Midway, shuttered their offices in Chicago where he worked.
Yeah.
He or she. I can't tell if it's a he or she. My instructors had to find new jobs, moved away. I realized quickly this industry was way too intense for me. And that's fair too. You could always, if you don't feel like it's working for you, no one can take those skills from you. If you already have the job skills and you can use those to find something different in a similar related field that's more secure, but no one can take away your years of experience, right? So you might be able to add some new experiences to it that might be beneficial to you that no one else is adding or thinking about. And then it might all come full circle and you might be able to get back into it a few years later with these new skill sets you wouldn't have had you not tried something different. And that actually sets you apart from everybody else. There's no shame in that. If that's what you need to do that and then come back to it later. They can't take that away from you.
There you go.
So anyway, we got to wrap this up because I got to go make dinner. But anyway, dude was
Get
nicer.
back in the kitchen.
He's basically saying the same, reading between the lines, he's saying the same thing we're saying. It's just that he's saying in a
He's
lot
much
nicer way.
Yes, he's much nicer.
But he has mentor services. Again, if you want to hire him to mentor you, you can.
I should offer my mentor. Man, I'd be like Gordon Ramsay.
If you want those people like want to own a haunted house or like Kane,
Trying to get kicked in the balls repeatedly by Neon.
Some people are into that. Then Neon be your mentor.
Oh my God, we had people sign up and be like,
I know.
Yeah, Neon, kick me in the balls.
Kick me again. No, we're not that mean. Actually,
me, Dad.
We care about what happens to you, which is why we're telling you these things.
We're parents, right? We're parents,
Right,
and we tell our kids the same thing.
Again. And you're mad mom and dad are saying, hey, is there money in it? Mom and dad are saying, maybe you should go get a real job. We're not telling you that blunt, but we're like, there's a reason.
I am telling you that blunt. I'm like, look, it's not a real job, but if you want to make it a real job, you can, but you're gonna have to think like a business person and stop thinking like a.
So I mean, we're not asking you to pay us to mentor you. We give this information for free, but a lot of you don't want to hear it. So
no,
there you go.
Oh well. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.